states have introduced similar legislation which would remind Washington, D.C. that government works best when it's closest to the people it represents. Texas has the 9th largest economy in the world, and they have balanced their budgets and created over 1 million jobs in the last 6 years. Why is our governor, Christine Gregoire, telling us that our state budget has a $9 billion deficit? If you don't have it, don't spend it.
That's right.
By the way, that does not mean that we are $9 billion in the hole. No, it means that what they want to spend is $9 billion more than what they have.
That's right.
Our state legislature, just for an example, says it will have to close 40 state parks to partially make up the shortfall, but it doesn't tell you that they still plan to spend $80 million on new lands, some of it for parks. Doesn't make sense, does it? Come on. 7 states and that great mayor up in Mississauga, Ontario, are proving that fiscal responsibility is possible. And profitable. Let's go back to the concept of priorities of government, or POGs, that was adopted by Governor Locke for a while. It's very similar to what we do in our homes and our businesses. You prioritize the budget, top to bottom. You see how much money you have, and you draw the line between your needs and your wants. Hint. Here's a hint. Everything below that line is a want. If you need more money, you figure out ways to trim, you work harder, and you figure out ways to make your money work harder for you. Now let's get back to curbing federal government. Governor Perry reminds us that the 10th Amendment was written and enacted by people who remembered what it was like to have a, quote, very repressive government. They remembered what it was like to be under the thumbs of tyrants. Unfortunately, the protections the 10th Amendment guarantees have melted away over the years. He points out that Texas is proof that good things happen when government lowers taxes, it lowers regulations, it reduces spending, it encourages private sector growth.
Yes.
He and I agree with Texas's 7th governor, Sam Houston, who said, Texas has yet to learn submission to any oppression, come from what source it may. I say we agree. And by the way, Governor Perry publicly supports the Tea Party movement, so don't buy this line that we're all just a bunch of crackpots. We're not. We may be the only ones who are thinking straight. Perry says, I believe the federal government has become oppressive. It's become oppressive in its size, its intrusion in the lives of its citizens, and its interference with the affairs of our state. Do you side with those in D.C. who are pursuing this unprecedented expansion of power? No! Or do you believe in individual rights and responsibilities laid down in our foundational documents? Yes! Where are you going to stand? With an ever-growing Washington bureaucracy or with the people? With the people! Returning to the letter and the spirit of the United States Constitution and its essential 10th Amendment will free our state and ultimately strengthen our country. I don't care what your party affiliation is, this is something we can all agree on. There comes a point in time where you stand up and say, enough is enough. Yes. Yes. And I think Americans have reached that point. We, the people in the Tea Party movement, are standing up. We have reached that point. Enough is enough. Every human being around the world, and this is why the Tea Party is starting in Denmark too, and let's just watch it all snowball. I can't wait to see what happens on the 4th of July. Every human being around the world knows instinctively, deep down inside, that they have the legitimate right to their life, their liberty, and their property. That's right. Property includes the money that you work so hard to get. Yes. We don't mind chipping in for the things listed in this Constitution. We do mind being forced to pay millions to protect a certain type of mice in California. And yes, that's in the stimulus package. Or to buy more private land for government control like an area near Mount Baker, when it already owns plenty. Enough! Can I hear from you? Enough! 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 So, elected officials in our cities and our state capital and Washington, D.C., if you have voted in support of oppressive taxation and wasteful spending, consider this your big old pink slip. It's time for you to polish your resumes. Yes. Because even if you don't see us on your news station tonight, you will get the message in the next election. Whether it's in the local races this fall or the state and federal races in 2010 and 2012 and 2014. Every single one of you comes up for re-election by then. We have had enough, and we're not going to sit by and watch our children and grandchildren be saddled with this debt. We are going to do everything possible to help you lose your seat. If you have voted in support of oppressive legislation, we will read and reread the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. And by the way, you can read them yourself. If you can't find a paper copy, go online to constitution.org and click on Founding Documents. That's constitution.org. Okay? It's pretty easy, and there's only a few pages. We are going to read and reread this Constitution and the Declaration of Independence so we'll recognize it when we're being ripped off.